So I'm going to start on this mic, but I can't stay standing in one place for very long, so it's not going to work out for too long. But I partied like it was 1999 last night. I did that because I live in St. John's, so that's what we do there. Um, Thank you. I don't know, anyone else from St. John's in the room? Nobody? How about like a loud, like, yeah, I'm from St. John. There we go. This guy, he's there. Yeah, he was there. He knows what I'm talking about. So last night in St. John's, we had a benefit, a fundraiser for our adorable small town parade, 53rd annual, coming up May 9th. It's amazing. And the bazaar, which is also amazing and happens at the same time. And at this fundraiser, there's like this crazy, the best like Prince impersonation band playing. So we really did party like it was 1999, I assure you. And in like every kind of small town gathering with a band, there's like those people totally embarrassing themselves on the dance floor. Me and my friends. And that's when you can dance that bad and like just body flailing, rah, jumping all over the place in front of your community, that's when you know that you're home, that you found your community, right? So for me, I'm just all over it. This is what St. John's it means to live there. It's just we are always going to each other's houses and who has the fire burning in their backyard tonight. A lot of us have kids. I've got kids. It's a lot like that 1950s fictional neighborhood you hear about where like sometimes older people on Facebook will post this meme where they're like, back in my day, an Xbox was just a box with an X on it, or, you know, and I'm like, yeah, like that little happy town universe still exists. My kids are still riding their bikes to the movie theater with their friends and all that. And I'm talking about St. John's because that is my place within Portland. It's a neighborhood in Portland. And place is so important with food and connection to place. So I'm going to start my little first slide here. Okay, yeah, speaking of place, this is my backyard. And I don't know how well you can see it, but this is my two kids and the girl that lives next door that was basically at my house every day, especially during the summer months. And she's now a cool middle schooler, so she doesn't hang out quite as much. But this is our place. This is our backyard. And my kids are doing what kids everywhere do, where they pick up a piece of wood that was left in the yard for a few months and they look for bugs, right? That's what they're doing. And they're like, ew, look at these bugs under here. Right to the left of Lauren, who's picking up the piece of wood, is a tiny little peach tree, an adorable peach tree that we planted when the girl right here was 1 year old. The peach tree is a lot bigger these days. It's not a tiny peach tree anymore. It's 10 years old, and what happens when you got a 10-year-old peach tree is you got peaches. So we got a lot of peaches, and this is what we do with it. This is a label from a freezer bag. We harvest all our peaches, and there's just like too many to do. You can't have that much jam. It would be ludicrous. Like you can't eat it all, and you can't give away enough of it. So what we do now is we take a portion of the peaches and we make peach pie filling, and we freeze it flat, and then we've got like all this filling that we can look so cool when we go to a party in February, and we just like lay our peach pie down on the potluck table. And we're like, yeah, we grew those, by the way. That was us. So that's what we're doing right now. I feel very cool about myself and my peaches today because, like, really, I've been on, like, a spree of, yeah, potluck, peach pie, you got it. What you'll notice on this, like, peach pie label that I'm a total dork. That's what you're going to notice first because I can't just be like, peach pie filling. I have to say really stuff like, I don't know if you can see this pointer, but it says peach pie filling with homemade vanilla. Yeah, because that's important. Like, who cares? You can't taste it, right? Why the hell am I writing it on the bag? right? I'm an idiot. No, I'm writing it on the bag because that's amazing. We made our own vanilla. I mean, we didn't make the beans, but me and my kids went down to Mr. Green Beans on Mississippi, and Trevin and Jenny hooked us up with a whole stack of vanilla beans in the little jars, and we got a bunch of alcohol, and we made little vanilla jars for us and then the neighborhood families and our families at home. And then me and the kids had so much fun shaking those jars for months and making vanilla. And we made brandy vanilla and vodka vanilla because we're going to taste the difference, all this stuff. But the deal is, once you've put vanilla in a pie, who cares where it came from? It doesn't, you can't taste it. You're not going to be like, well, that was definitely vanilla from the St. John's neighborhood. No, it's not, you can't. No, I don't care how connoisseur you are. You can't tell. We also have the ingredients that I called out, Jacobson's sea salt. Another one that who cares? You can't taste it. Like maybe if you were finishing salt something, but I can't even tell, I can't even tell. So why did I go through the effort of putting it on a freezer bag, right? The reason I did is because the relationship I have to the peaches is ridiculous. Like I planted the damn tree. My kids are growing up around that tree, pulling up the dirt around that tree, checking out bugs. We love that tree. We check on that tree all the time after every storm. How's the peach tree? So obviously the peaches I have the most intense relationship with. The vanilla that we hand shook for months, my kids' tiny little hands, it's adorable. And they're like so serious about, we really need to do the vanilla, so cute. So the vanilla, we developed a relationship to. I don't know Ben Jacobson. I was on a panel with him once and he seemed cool. What I do know about him is that he's not all marketing. Like, he's not taking industrial salt and pretending it's from Oregon, okay? So I put my trust in Ben that when he says he harvested Oregon sea salt, it was all groovy, that it was actually all groovy and cool. And because of that, I'm proud to say that I put it in my pies. When I put his salt in my pies, for me, my pie now has the Pacific Ocean in it. And that is rad. And I'm supporting a cool family that I don't even know, but I assure you they're probably just like my family. And the way I feel about my peaches, I think that's how Ben feels about his salt. And I want that. I want to support that, and I want to put it in my pie, even though there's no reason when it comes to flavor. I've hidden all the things that would make you know you wouldn't ever taste the pie and know it. But to me, it's so valuable that I had to be a geek and write it on the bag. And when I go to potlucks, I write it on the darn label, ooh, Jacobson sea salt, homemade vanilla. I put it on the label at potlucks because I think it's so cool. And what's really neat is that, it was like a commerce event when I bought the sea salt or the vanilla beans. An economist would say that exchange was one of commerce. But because of how I feel about this, I know it was an exchange of community. Even though there was cash exchanged, that's not what I remember months later when I take this freezer bag out. I remember the conversations I had at Mr. Green Beans. I remember all the parts of the experience. I don't recall handing over cash. So the commerce exchange is forgotten as quick as it happens. And the thing that lasts is your feeling of community with that exchange. So when we put local ingredients in our food, when we support local farmers and local families and local restaurants and those families, it's not just commerce as usual. It's something much more deeper, and it's really the fabric of our lives is what it is. It's really, these are the exchanges that make up the stories you're going to tell people, and these are the holiday gifts you're making for people. This is what puts value into our lives. A lot of times people talk about these squishy values, and they bemoan the fact that you can't analyze the monetary data behind it. You don't get the analytics for sense of community, right? These squishy, warm, fuzzy feelings, it's like, well, what do they really mean? The neat thing is that in my space, I have to work with data because I'm trying to make sure more money stays in the local economy. And so in my research, I found that, yes, actually, there are measurements in place for these warm, squishy feelings. So one of them is from this guy, Andrew Frawley, who is the CEO of Epsilon, the largest data marketing firm, or one of the largest, and he wrote a book called Igniting Customers. And you probably can't read it, so I'm going to read it for you. But what he said is, emotions actually play a more significant role in purchase behavior than price and convenience. So from like the data marketing neuropsychology perspective, the sense of community I'm talking about, me and my pie, they call it emotional connection, emotional relationships. So what he's saying is that your emotional connection to something will trump low price and convenience. What a relief, right? That's what all the groovy little farms, like, they don't have the lowest price and they're not always convenient. You know, like picking up from the farm or U-Pick or CSAs, and like they're trying to make it more convenient, but we do have to go out of our way sometimes to support these folks in the local economy. But we'll do it if we have that emotional connection. So that's cool. This is really good news for all of us, right? You also said that $1 spent communicating with an emotionally engaged customer will outperform $1 spent communicating with an average customer, not by 10 or 20%, but often 300 to 400%. So there's a lot of value for companies out there to convey this emotional relationship, this sense of community. And that's why, like Jacobs and Sea Salt, I'm calling them out, because they do a great job of that you really feel like the ocean's in those bags or whatever, however you buy, like that adorable little tin, which I haven't gotten yet, but it's so cute. So this is really interesting for us. What's also interesting is that this book, Igniting Customers, was not written for us at all. Wasn't written for me. It was written for like Fortune 500 marketing department type people. So what it means is that a lot of big brands are like rushing in to be emotionally engaged with all their customers. And that's why you get the like, not just greenwashing, but the local washing now, where companies are like really pretending like they're producing locally. And they don't want anyone to like really question the marketing language behind that. They want you to just be like, it seems like it's Oregon. And they're doing that because it's proven itself to be really powerful in terms of how you judge how much you'll pay for a product. So they might ask for a higher premium if they can give you the illusion that it's local. You'll see this a lot at supermarkets where like you'll be at Safeway or something, and it's like a produce section, and in the back of it, like all along the back, it's like local produce, and it's like almost like cheesy, like the wallpaper strips that, you know, but it's like, woo, local produce. And then you look at the apples, like New Zealand or what, you know, and you're like, wait a minute, like they just think it's wallpaper. Like they think, oh yeah, just stick local around there. And so you really have to be a conscious consumer when it comes to all of this. How this plays into my work is that we are also measuring the emotional relationship that people have with the local economy at large, not just with food. And what we've done is pretty cool. I'm hoping that this graph shows up. So this is a data graph of data from my business, which is Supportland. And what we do is we try to make it that someone's exchange, that commerce event, right, at one independently owned business becomes a sticky entry point into the whole local economy. So that a customer doesn't just have a commerce event, but they have this deeper sense of community that engenders them to the next independently owned business and the next one and the next one. And this information, we actually have transactions that customers do on our program. And so we've actually graphed it here. And these blue lines are customers moving between businesses in the local economy. And I made the names of the businesses anonymous in this graph, but these are real Portland businesses. If I was to show you one today, it would be all blue, and that would be stupid. So I'm showing you one from back in the day. But it's so cool that this is how it works. And for me, I have this like bird's eye view of the local economy that I'm just dying to share with people, because it's so fascinating what happens when we talk about community instead of just buying stuff. It's a huge difference, and it's not the same thing at all. The way Supportland works is that folks, the like basic fundamental way it works is a lot like an airline miles program, where people earn points at one business and earn points over here every time they make an exchange. And then they accumulate all these points and they buy rewards. So they can get points at business A, B, and C and use those merits, is what we call them, for a reward at business X. And it's a little bit crazy, but it's all the independent businesses coming together to say, you know what, customers are moving between our businesses anyway. Why don't we intentionally share them and act collaboratively so that they can remain in the local economy and see what happens. And what happens is really cool. So when we have one customer on Supportland go to one business, they will go to 9 other businesses on the platform on average, which is really radical. So it's actually working to get people in this sticky kind of vortex of the local economy and really redefining what it means to support local businesses. It's like we use a lot of creepy, there's a lot of very weird research in the neuromarketing space, like brain marketing stuff. And I'm steeped in it, unfortunately, because it's kind of wacky reading. But some of it's really cool. And one of my favorite ones is surprise and delight. It's such a simple mechanism, but you can surprise and delight people with community nonstop. So every business that thinks they need to scale on their own, they can hack scale by just tapping into community. The community is already at scale, and they're already ready for you. But if you're going to go it alone, that is a very hard road versus tapping into community and sense of community, where you're going to get a lot more traction. And like that guy says, I mean, the purchasing amount, he's saying that the customers are 300 to 400 times more valuable if they're emotionally engaged. So that sort of mind shift for one business owner to know that that's what community means to their bottom line. It's not just like a fluffy thing, even though for me it feels real fluffy inside when I make my little peach pies and whatnot. It's really not a fluffy thing. It's really got data science behind it. And it's really something that we all need to support and engage in, and think about it in terms of businesses and who we support, and reimagine this local economy as more than just commerce events, but your life. It's your life, and these are the exchanges that make it up. So that's my presentation. We could do Q&A now. Thank you.